This young man was accused of taking a woman's life and attempting to do the same to her boyfriend using a firearm. One of the victims was this young man's sister-in-law, but he denies being the perpetrator of this crime. Take a look at his testimony and tell me if you think he's lying or not.
The question you ask to begin with here, Christian, is the following according to the public prosecutor's office on the day. In the early afternoon of September 12, 2022, at around 12:30 p.m., at the residence of the victim, Tatiana de Oliveira Aljo, located at Rua Estrada Velha do Barigui, number 189, crossing 6, Invasão do Nascida, Estrada Industrial de Curitiba, Mr. Christian da Silva Santos allegedly, with the intent to kill each of the victims. There was more than one victim, and using a firearm, fired shots at the victims. Lucas Gabriel dos Santos Casimiro and Tatiana de Oliveira Aljo. And this last one would be here, the gentleman's sister-in-law. In a very brief summary, what we have here is an accusation of attempted murder. Are these facts true or false?
No, sir, it wasn't me.
Wasn't it?
It wasn't me, sir.
What happened in this episode, Christian?
I don't know, sir, it wasn't me. That day I was at home with my family, sir.
Okay, let's go. Christian, first, who is Lucas Gabriel dos Santos Casimiro?
As far as I know, he was my sister-in-law's boyfriend.
Okay, so your sister-in-law's boyfriend?
That
Okay, and your sister-in-law, who is she?
Tatiana de Oliveira Aljo.
Who is the other victim?
That
Okay, fine. You said you're not married, but you're living together during an internship. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay, your wife, your partner, who is she? It is.
Julie Stephanie Oliveira dos Santos.
Okay, so Julie is Tatiana's sister. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, how long has it been since? This happened here in 2022, September 2022, so it's been a year and a little bit, right? How long had you been with Julie?
Today we make 12 years together. We've been together for a little over 11 years.
And since then, had you already been living here in Curitiba?
No, we're from Pará.
We met each other.
In Pará, that's right.
Okay, I understand. And what about Tatiana? She's from Pará.
Too, yes. And
How long had everyone been here in Curitiba then?
he was already here. I don't know exactly how long, but I came when the company went bankrupt there. My mother-in-law called me and said I could come try my luck in Curitiba, so I came here. And my sister-in-law, along with my mother-in-law, welcomed me with open arms. They took me in at their house. The next day, my sister-in-law invited me to go hand out resumes with her. We went together, made resumes together. I handed out my resume and I got a job at the butcher shop. When I got the job at the butcher shop, I think I stayed less than a week at my sister-in-law's house. Then I rented a house for myself together with my wife and my children. And from then on, I started working here in Curitiba.
But to be more specific, this specific event actually took place in September 2022. Thinking back to that particular moment, how long had you already been living in Curitiba? No.
I don't remember, almost a year.
Okay, almost a year, perfect. And during this 1 year period here, did you have contact with Tatiana, with Lucas?
Lucas, I met him on the day of the events there. On a Sunday, the day before, he had dinner there. I took my wife and my children to my mother-in-law's house and they were all gathered there. That's where I met Lucas for the first time when he came out of the room and greeted me. A really great guy, super nice, welcomed me with open arms into his home. I have nothing bad to say about him. He's a wonderful person. I don't know why they're accusing me of this.
All right, let's take it easy, okay? So, Lucas, who is the victim? You met him that same day on September 12th.
I actually met him just one day before. Everything that happened,
When
there was that dinner at my mother-in-law's house.
and with Tatiana, did you have any contact with her here in Curitiba or not?
Only when I went to my mother-in-law's house to take my children, my mother, my wife to see her mother, that's when I would see her there at the house.
And besides the fact that Tatiana is your wife's sister, your partner's sister, in other words, your sister-in-law, did your brother have any kind of relationship with her? Were they friends or maybe enemies? Did they work together? Anything like that?
Never. She always respected me just as I respected her.
Well, Christian, you have already said here that you were not the perpetrator of this incident. In other words, you were not the one who fired the shot, correct?
Correct.
So the question is, what happened for it to get to this point? That is, for there to be a police investigation and then a formal accusation against you here, attributing the authorship of this attempted homicide to you. Can you explain why? How did it get to this point?
That's what people ask me every day, sir. Uh-huh.
Okay. How long after did you get arrested?
The exact date, I'm afraid I don't recall. Sir?
All right, but was it right afterwards or not?
Some time passed, then they started accusing me. I got another lawyer, and I was going to turn myself in of my own free will.
The
Police Chief Tiago Nobrega from Curitiba didn't want to receive me because it was an election period. He said I couldn't be arrested unless it was a case of being caught in the act. So I stayed at my residence. When the election period was over and I was waiting to turn myself in, the police came to my house and ended up arresting me. I didn't have time to go of my own free will.
And on that occasion, or even before or after, were you interrogated at the police station? Did you talk to the police chief? Did you explain what happened?
He didn't want to hear me, sir.
No interrogation?
My lawyer said that he didn't want to hear me.
Afterwards, was there a hearing?
Yes, 6 months later, if I'm not mistaken, there was a hearing. And
then were you heard? Were you interrogated?
yes, sir.
What did you tell, I believe, the judge, my colleague, Dr. Michel?
I told what I'm telling here that it wasn't me, that on that day, on the day the events happened, I was at home, I was off work, that's it. I remember it was on a Monday, I was off work, and my wife woke me up to stay with my younger daughter, who is 5 years old, because she was going to pick up my other son, who was at school. So I woke up and stayed with my daughter. My wife went to pick up my son at school, and when she returned home, that was it. About 40 minutes later, my mother-in-law called, desperate, saying that someone had broken into her house and shot Tatiana and Lucas. My wife was frantic and asked us to go to the crime scene for us to go there. My mother-in-law said we shouldn't go because we shouldn't put our lives or our children's lives at risk since she didn't know who had done it. For that reason, we didn't go to the scene of the incident.
Okay, and was it your mother-in-law who called you?
Yes, sir. And
Did she say who shot them?
she said she didn't know.
Now, Chris, I wanted to ask you about the specific relationship you had with Tatiana, who is the victim in this case. At any point, did you ever have any kind of disagreement with her, any kind of argument?
Here in Curitiba, there was an argument when I went to pick up my wife. She was at the school because she had gone to get a food basket. I went to the school to pick up my wife. When I got there, my sister-in-law tried to stab me at the school. She tried to stab me. I dodged and moved away from her because she said that I had assaulted my wife that day there at the school. There were more than 50 people at the school, and at no point did I lay a hand on my wife there.
Okay, I understand. But if Tatiana, who is the victim, actually tried to stab you, then your relationship with her wasn't exactly friendly, was it?
She later apologized and we were okay. I visited my mother-in-law often, chatting and having family barbecues together.
And what can you tell me about Tatiana's friends? Who did she hang out with?
I don't mean to speak badly, but as her own mother knows, she got involved with several guys. Her mother always said, "My daughter, you're going to end up in trouble, you're going to end up in trouble." She would get involved with one person. And then when I looked again, she was with someone else. She was with a guy there, Leandro, I don't remember his last name, who ended up fighting with her there. And on that day, he grabbed her. And he went to my mother-in-law's house looking for Tatiana after her. And it seems she wasn't there, or her mother didn't want to say she was there. This guy ended up firing a shot into the air, said he was going to break into the house, that he was going to kill her. So they called the police, they arrested this guy, they went there and caught him with the gun and everything. He was arrested, he stayed in jail for a few days. Later, he was released wearing an electronic ankle monitor, and Tatiana obtained a restraining order against him, prohibiting him from approaching her. Then she left him, then she got involved with him. Lucas Casemiro.
Okay. But I asked this question because when you were questioned in court, at that time you mentioned that you had already spoken with the judge there. You described Cheney's behavior, or rather the people she hung out with, as people who were no good. Is that what you're referring to? Yes, it is.
Because of the fact that, not just me saying it, but as she herself said in her testimony, that she is a user and the guy Lucas is a user too, but that has nothing to do with their lives. That's what they themselves said. Lucas's own sister Casemiro said it. The fact that he's a user, this and that, has nothing to do with their lives. That's what they themselves said. That's what they themselves claim, what they alleged on the day of their hearing.
Do you have a problem with Lucas himself?
I never had it.
Sir?
I actually met her just the day before and she spoke to me very kindly and respectfully. It was nothing against you at all.
Lucas was also heard in a hearing, right?
Don't remember, sir. So
In
I missed seeing that on the day.
hearing, because it's recorded here in the proceedings. 280.3, Lucas, when heard, said that he is at his ex-partner's house, which is Tatian, because he used to live with her. At the time of the events, the stepfather, the mother, and her daughter also left. He explained that he lived in the lower part of the house with Tatian. Then it goes on here, giving a few more details. And it says here they were in the bedroom lying down when they heard the sound of the gate, someone coming in. And then when we went to check, the guy was already inside the room because the door was open. And we could see his face clearly. It was Tatian's brother-in-law, because he had come the day before to have a barbecue. It's Christian, right? And he goes on here saying, later, they asked again, and it says he confirms that he saw the defendant's face, and he was at a short distance. It was a point-blank shot. And there's no doubt it was the accused, and he's certain because he saw him the day before at his house.
That's what he says, but his sister, when she was questioned on the day of the hearing, the prosecutor asked her who it could have been. She said that when he was in a coma for 2 months, when he came out of the coma, he said he didn't remember, that he only remembers being hit with the butt of a gun and that the person was hooded. This is in his sister's testimony. She asked him directly, she asked Lucas Casimiro, and today he gives a different version,
Which
is the one he's giving today.
he also later on said the following. He explained that this problem happened because Tatiana used to interfere a lot in her sister Julia's life, and she didn't like it. And Christian, who is you, used to hit Tati's sister, who is Julia. And then from this family problem that you had there, or that they had, is where this episode came from.
The only thing that's keeping me in jail to this day is that my wife came from Belém Pará to Curitiba, secretly because I assaulted her, and right after I came after her and asked for forgiveness, said I wouldn't hit her anymore, and I kept assaulting her. She's here, even though there isn't a single police report here. The only police report that exists is from 2018, in Manaus on the day I argued with my wife. She did file a police report, like every couple we fought. But since then, I've been getting along really well with my wife. We've been together for almost 12 years. We have 2 kids together. Every couple fights, but at no point. Just like she said that my wife came from Pará secretly to here because I assaulted her every day. And that I kept assaulting her here in Curitiba, as stated in the records of the facts. If you look it up, there is no record of any kind of assault here, except for that one in 2018, in Manaus.
Tatian, who is another victim, was also heard in court. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
Did you follow her statement? But are you aware of what she said?
No, I'm afraid not, sir.
She said that at a certain point, everything went well at the barbecue. Everything went smoothly. When she went inside, she sat on the couch with the victim, Lucas, and hugged him. Then he laid his head on her lap and said, Your brother-in-law is here at the door. And at that moment, she said, What do you mean my brother-in-law is here at the door? She then explained that Lucas saw first while lying down. When he got up, Tatian saw him with the gun in his hand, already pointing it at both of them. And it was Christian. He was wearing the same clothes he had worn the day before.
No, it wasn't me.
Me neither.
I am very sorry. But it really was not me, sir.
These accounts from the victims here, are they fabricated? Are they made up with the purpose of harming you? Or is there some other reason for this to have happened?
For me, from my point of view, I am absolutely certain that she knows who the real perpetrator was. She knows. She is aware of who it is. If she really saw who it was, she knows who it was. And out of retaliation, fear, she doesn't want to say anything, then it's easy for her to just blame a worker, someone who can't defend themselves, a person who has no way to defend themselves. I'm just a poor guy, I'm a worker, I've worked my whole life so that my children and my wife would never lack anything. I've always worked, I've never been unemployed. I've always done everything I could so that my family would never go without, never be in need. I don't know why she's doing this. I don't know why the guy is doing this, but in front of everyone here, I don't wish anything bad on them for what they're doing. They've kept me away from my children. I'm missing out on my children's childhood. I'm going hungry in jail under police pressure. I never thought I would go through this in my life. I've never done harm to anyone. I've always worked. I've never gotten involved with drugs. If you do a test, take my blood. I've never used drugs in my life. I don't drink. The only addiction I have is playing soccer because I love playing soccer. That's the only addiction I have. I don't know why I'm doing this. But despite everything that All the suffering I'm going through, I forgive each one of them. I forgive. Because God tells us to love our neighbor, and I forgive them because we offer what our hearts are full of. And I don't wish any harm. I hope they are very happy that they recover their health. And that if one day someone finds the real perpetrator, all of you will see that I was imprisoned, unjustly paying for something I didn't do. They said there was footage, that there was footage of the car passing by and everything. Where is this footage that never showed up? If that footage had appeared, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be going through all of this. My children come to visit me asking, Dad, when are you coming back? And I don't have an answer to give him anymore. My son, I don't know. And then he says, how do you not know? I say, I don't know. But today I can give my son more answers. Whether I'll be able to go back home or not, today I'll have that answer. It won't go past today.
Yeah, Christian. You've already explained here that you're originally from Belém do Pará and then you lived in Manaus because of work. And then after that you came to Curitiba, right? According to what you said here, it was because there was a possibility of finding, well, a better opportunity, a job.
Now isn't that right?
Yes. So at that time, did you intend to leave the state, to leave the capital here, Curitiba, to go somewhere else? Were you already planning that?
No, sir, because I was working here.
You didn't have that intention?
No. I was seeing if I could settle here in Curitiba.
Following that specific incident in any way, shape or form, did you ever try, plan, or even seriously think about leaving Curitiba and going to some other location entirely?
My mother felt unwell on the day of the events. I was blaming myself. I called her and said, Mom, this is happening. And I don't have that anymore. My father is deceased. I only have my mother, and she is in the state of Amazonas. And she was desperate. She was feeling unwell. I said, Mom, calm down. Everything will be clarified. And she thought that someone was going to come and kill me or something like that. I said, Mom, I'll go there to be with you. And I was in Floripa waiting for everything to be resolved. I bought a ticket and went to Manaus. I left the state. If it were up to me, I wouldn't have come back to the state. I would have stayed there. I went there, stayed 5 days with my mother. She saw that I was okay. She didn't want me to come back. I said, man, I have to go back to sort things out. I can't keep running away. I don't owe anything to anyone. So after 5 days, I came back here. I came back here and was waiting to turn myself in of my own free will, which was during the election period. So that's why I left the state, but soon after I returned. On September 22nd, I went to Manaus again because my mother's birthday is on the 25th. And on September 23rd, it's my daughter's birthday. We were going to celebrate at my mother's house in Manaus. The tickets were already bought, so on September 22nd, I went again, me, my wife, and my children, to Manaus. We spent my mother's birthday there with my daughter. After 5 days, we returned again to Floripa. I left the state twice and came back again because I don't owe anything.
But this ending is happening on September 12th, 2022. And you said you went to Florianopolis, is that right? Yes. When did you go to Florianopolis?
I went on the same day, sir?
No, September 12th?
Yes.
And from there, did you stay 5 days and then go to Manaus?
I don't really remember the exact day. I think it was after 2 or 3 days that I went to see my mother. I stayed there for 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and then I came back here. I just went there to calm her down and tell her everything would be fine, and then I came back.
You mentioned that it was your mother-in-law who called to inform you about this incident, right?
Yes.
What time was that?
I don't remember the time, sir.
Okay, but was it at night, in the morning?
It was during the day, sir.
During the day?
During the day. Soon after, my wife picked her up, but I went to the school. I think it took about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, I think, and then she called telling me what had happened.
Okay, at what point did you become aware that someone was suggesting you were the perpetrator of this incident? There?
They started saying all sorts of things. Then there was an audio message on WhatsApp where my sister-in-law said she already knew who it was. This audio went to almost the whole family, and she said it was an ex of hers who paid for her college. And everything, that she knew she was with this other guy, that it was this and that. So, because of that, I stayed calm. I said, love, everything will be fine. I'll stay here. Let's wait. Let's talk to a lawyer. They'll see it wasn't me. They'll see I have nothing to do with this. Do you understand?
But look, Christian, just so we can make our conversation here a bit more objective, okay? You mentioned earlier that those audio messages began to circulate around that area, didn't you?
Yes. And
She said was someone else.
that it was someone else.
Those
WhatsApp audios
started circulating when? On what day? How long after the incident? Was it the same day? Was it the next day? A month? A week?
It was about 3 or 4 days, I don't remember exactly, but it was a day after what happened.
Look, the incident happened on September 12th. On the same day, you received a call from your mother-in-law informing you that it had happened. And then you said 3 or 4 days. Some audio messages started circulating saying that it was someone else who had done it.
Exactly.
Then I asked you, when did you find out that someone had named you as the perpetrator?
The day? Yes.
How long after the incident?
After the events, I don't really remember exactly what day it was. My mother-in-law had called saying that Lucas's father already knew who it was, that he was going after me. Then later, my mother-in-law said there was a photo of me, that someone had saved a photo of me from Facebook saying it was me, that it was this and that. That's when I started to panic.
But Christian, look, the question is very direct and objective. If you don't want to answer, that's not a problem. You may remain silent. I asked when you found out that someone, and then it doesn't really matter who, would have said that you were the author?
I don't remember the exact day, I don't recall.
Okay, but was it the same day, a few days later, a month later? About how long after?
I don't remember, sir.
Was it on the same day? When your mother-in-law called, did she already say that this happened and that they said it was you?
No, when she called, she said she didn't know who it was.
Okay. I asked you this question, Christian, because you said that on the same day the incident happened, you went to Florianopolis.
That's right.
And then you also said you went there because your mother was there?
No, my mother was in Manaus.
In Manaus, okay. And why did you go to Florianopolis? To meet whom?
No, I went there because my wife was afraid for us to stay here because they were saying there was a hitman after me. So we panicked, that's why we left Curitiba.
That's exactly the point. This happened here, according to the public prosecutor's office, around 12:30. In the early afternoon, almost 1 o'clock around there. And then you said that on the same day you went to Florianopolis. And that's why I asked, but you went to Florianopolis out of fear of what and why? Had they already said it was you that you were the perpetrator? That's the point. Why did you go to Florianopolis if, for example, you didn't know that someone was looking for you?
My mother-in-law called right when it happened, when it was around 5 or 6 o'clock. She had called my wife in desperation, asking why Lucas did that. She started talking and then began to suspect it was me. So my wife and I became desperate with our children. We didn't know what to do. And my mother-in-law said she had already saved a photo of me from Facebook and that she was looking for me. Then we panicked, didn't want to stay at home, and that's why we left Curitiba.
Okay, so on the same day the incident happened, you already had information that...
About you being involved? It was my mother-in-law who said so. She called my wife and said it was me, that she was accusing me, right, in this case.
All right. Okay, I have no further questions for now, Christian. Doctor, is this great promise from the public?
Well, apparently, this defendant used to assault his wife, and her sister did not accept this kind of situation and would often argue with him. On one occasion, she even stabbed this defendant, but even so, he remains firm in his argument that he was not the one who took this woman's life. It's worth remembering that, in the case of a confession, the sentence is significantly reduced. According to Article 65 of the Penal Code, if the defendant confesses to committing the crime, confesses to being the perpetrator, a general mitigating factor will be applied that can reduce the sentence by up to 1/6. But he chose to fight to prove his innocence. He says he was not the one who committed the crime. Is he telling the truth? What do you think? Now let's watch the questions from the prosecutor. And if you like videos like this, give it a like. And subscribe to the channel. Every week I post videos like this. Now, let's go.
So that there isn't a...
Yes, perfect.
Just give me some guidance and I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Tiago. Good morning, Christian.
Good morning, sir. It's important.
It is important for us to put this whole situation into a clearer context. This specific barbecue, you mentioned a social barbecue earlier.
Yes, sir.
On what day did it take place?
It was the day before, if it happened on the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. It was on the 11th, it was a Sunday.
Right, September 12th, 2022 is a Monday because...
The events happened, yes.
So from what I understand, on the 11th, a Sunday, there was a barbecue.
Yes.
A barbecue where?
At my mother-in-law's house.
At her mother-in-law's house?
Yes.
What is her name?
It's Marizete.
Mrs. Marizette.
Mrs. Marizete.
Who lived in the house?
Living there at the time were my mother-in-law and her husband, along with my sister-in-law, her daughter, and Lucas.
Okay. So, living in the house where the barbecue took place were your mother-in-law, her partner,
Yes, the
victim, Tatiana herself, the other victim, Lucas, and Tatiana's young daughter.
Yes,
Is
that right?
That's right. At what time of day did this barbecue take place?
It was at night. It was at night. That's right.
Okay. And at this barbecue, were all the residents of the house present?
There at the barbecue, I only saw my mother-in-law, Tatiane, and Lucas, who later came out of the bedroom.
And at the barbecue, there wasn't any argument? There wasn't any situation?
No?
Super.
Calm, normal, just as it started, normal. The barbecue ended normally.
On that Sunday night?
That Sunday it was normal, just a barbecue like any other with the whole family gathered there.
Right. Nobody argued with
Anyone. My children were at the table. There was no argument, no disagreement, no insults.
Perfect.
They all welcomed me really well there at the house together with my family. At the
Barbecue, we don't have a survey of the scene. The Forensics Institute only conducts a survey when there is a death, at least in Curitiba. If you could explain, the barbecue takes place in front of the house. Is it open to the public there, in the sense that anyone passing by on the street can see what's happening? Could you explain to the lady juror, to the gentleman juror, what the house was like and where the barbecue took place?
The house has an upper and lower floor, and in front of it there's a garage.
It's a townhouse?
Townhouse?
That is right.
So in the front there's a garage. We grilled the meat there just past the door. Right after that is the kitchen. It gives access, and anyone passing by on the street can see what's happening there. The
Barbecue took place there in the garage area?
Yes, it was grilled there. In the garage, the meat was barbecued nearby. The first door is the kitchen, where we ate at the table.
The garage gate opens to the street. Yes.
It's a gate that you can see everything through. It's not solid, it's just a regular metal grate.
Up until then, it was a grated gate.
Yes, you can see both from inside and outside.
Anyone passing by on the street can see what's happening there. Right? Another thing, Christian. How long before the current events did that specific stabbing incident you mentioned earlier regarding Tatiana at school actually happen? Can you recall exactly how long before that particular day, that Sunday and that Monday back in 2021, this took place?
I don't even remember. It was about 8 months. Bye, everyone. It was quite a while ago.
It was something from way before.
Way before.
It had already been resolved.
It was already resolved. I used to go to the house. She went a long time without talking to me, like out of pride, and me too. Then we started like hi, and then we started talking normally. Whenever we saw each other, we greeted each other normally.
Right? So the only incident, as I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong, between you and Tatiana was that event that happened 8 months earlier.
Yes.
Can you give details? Because I ask. Also because in his interrogation in the first phase, he was already questioned in court in May, if I'm not mistaken. You reported, gave details, there were more people, there was a firearm discharge. Could you recount what happened there 8 months ago? What occurred there?
Case.
If you want to, of course.
When those stabbings happened on the same day, I was at home. We lived next door. My sister-in-law lived next door too, along with the other one, but not Lucas, the previous one.
Who?
Really?
Leandro. Who is Leandro?
He was her boyfriend?
Leandro was Tatiana's boyfriend?
Yes.
All right. This Leandro, he shows up. At what point in that situation that happened 8 months earlier?
Because at the time of those stabbings on that same day, this Leandro showed up there. She made up a story for Leandro saying that I was in front of my house threatening Leandro's mother and daughter. And Leandro got home from work, parked his motorcycle, saw me, and fired a shot into the air. I started running and he fired 3 more shots at me, but none of them hit. So I took off and went down to the lower street. Then a drug dealer who lived there held him back, which gave me time to get away from there. So after 3 days, Leandro, he called me asking why I was threatening his family. He asked if I wanted a war with him, and I said, I don't want a war with anyone. And at no point did I mess with your family.
Who is this Leandro over there? That area is Sabara, right? The
area is Sabara.
Who is this Leandro over there? Who is this individual? Who is this person?
From what I know, he already has a history that he had killed some people. I don't know if it's true. That's just what I've heard. And he, together with my sister-in-law, I don't want to speak badly, but they used drugs together, and when they started fighting, almost killing each other, my mother-in-law would call my wife in desperation, and my wife wanted to go there to break it up. I would say, love, don't go. Let them sort out their own problems. Sometimes we would go over there to try to help, but most of the time, when they started fighting, we wouldn't get involved. I would say, love, let him go over there and let's stay here.
So in that altercation that happened 8 months earlier, it was you, Tatiana, and this Leandro who were there?
Yes, no, actually I wasn't there. I came back to my house.
No, what I'm saying is he was also involved. He fired shots, all that stuff. The fact is, there's no record of this incident. No one filed a police report.
No, I didn't file a report because he ended up apologizing to me. He realized he called me to his house to talk and I went there.
He actually called you?
He called me to his house, so I went to his house. I was there. His mother was there too, Leandro's mother. And he said, I'm sorry. She told me that you were threatening my mother with my daughter. That's why I did it. I said, at no point did I do that. I called his mother and asked, ma'am, when did I ever threaten you with your daughter?
That matter was settled right there.
Between us, it was resolved right then and there.
Between you, Tatiana, and Leandro, that episode was settled.
It's resolved. I continued to my mother-in-law's.
Mother-in-law's? Then something started at a school involving Julia, that whole thing.
I didn't understand.
That episode started because of a situation at a school involving Julia.
Yeah, she claimed that I went there and assaulted my wife at the school. That was the reason she gave.
Another thing. Have you ever been charged with homicide or attempted homicide, whether in Paraná, Pará, or Amazonas?
No, the only record I have is one my wife filed in 2018, which was a police report on the day we fought.
Police report.
At home, she filed a police report. That's the only entry on record there. I have no involvement in homicide, nothing at all. Mary of
Pena, from what I understand.
Maria da Peña, nothing. She filed a report, outcome unknown.
Maria da Pena. It's a situation.
I don't remember what happened with the report, but I just know it was in 2018. Since then, we've lived really well, me and my wife.
I understand.
No.
No, just objectively, so we don't drag this out too much. So, homicide, whether here in Pará or in Amazonas, you never in...
Any place, just look up my name, never.
Do you have any history of alcoholism or drug addiction?
Never.
No?
No.
All right. Another thing, you said Tatiana had an ex who paid for her college. I didn't understand.
That was an audio message my mother-in-law was sending to her mother, and this audio to my wife's grandmother. Who is the ex? Is
it this Leandro?
I don't know who the ex was, so I can't. It just says that he already knew who it was, that it was an ex of hers who was paying for her college.
I see.
That's all that was in the audio.
Tatiana, she continued with Leandro. And I even asked the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to take note because we have two. Lucas, there's Christian Lucas. Are you Christian Lucas, sir?
Yes, sir.
We have a Lucas Gabriel, we have a Leandro. So these names will come up. It's important for us to try to keep track. I appreciate it, of course, as far as it interests the court. Leandro, when this barbecue happened, was seeing Tatiana.
As far as I knew, she was with both of them at the same time. My mother-in-law is aware of this. If I'm lying, she can correct me. That's right.
Regarding Lucas Gabriel, who is unfortunately one of the victims here, how long had she been seeing him?
That I don't know. Was it a short time? The exact time I don't know.
Of course, you don't keep track of the days. Was it about a month, a year? How long?
He had already been with her for a while. Then they started living together.
Living there for how long? A short time?
A short time because my mother-in-law had negotiated that house.
She started living there.
She moved in.
She left Sabara and went there to...
Right.
It's close to Sabara, but it's not in Sabara.
Yes, it's close, but it's not in Sabara. And...
Lucas, you met him the day before on that Sunday, and then you met again on Monday just to repeat and make it clear on Sunday. Do you know him?
Yes, it was that day that I saw him there for the first time.
I'll ask again. It's already been asked, but just in case you want to answer, would you have any reason to harm Tatiana and Lucas?
No reason at all. I would never cause pain to my wife's family, not even to my wife. She would never allow it.
Perfect. Do you know what time the events happened on Monday?
I don't know.
Do you know if it was at dawn?
It was during the day. All I know is that it was during the day. It was right after my wife got home from school with my son. It took a little while, then my mother-in-law called telling us what had happened.
So that wasn't, you had some difficulty answering Dr. Tiago's question. At first, your mother-in-law calls and says that Tatiana and Lucas were shot,
Yes.
but she doesn't say who might have shot them.
No.
Throughout that day on Monday itself, later, from what I understand, then your name comes up as one of the suspects.
Yes, my mother-in-law said that.
Same day? No.
The same day.
You even said that Lucas's father, Gabriel, the brother, would be there. Is that right or not? His father.
Said what? My mother-in-law told me to stay calm and stay right there because Lucas's father already knew who was responsible. She said that he was already going after them and would take care of the whole situation himself. Those were her exact words to me.
He's on it?
He'd handle it.
At what point did your mother-in-law tell Julie that you were the suspect? That same day?
Yes, it was in the afternoon. I don't really remember the exact time.
And then were you worried?
Then I got worried. I got anxious right away. I said, but how come you were there? I offered to go to the house, but my mother-in-law herself said, don't come. Don't put your lives or your son's life at risk because we don't know who did it. Because if she hadn't said anything until then, we would have gone to the place. Do you understand?
Another thing, they said your car was seen there. Who said that? And did you know about it?
From what I know, what I saw in the news report, it was my mother-in-law's husband who said no, that it was my car. He said he saw an armored car stopping in front of the house and that people got out. Wearing hoods, as far as I know, in the news report, that's what it said. My sister-in-law's daughter said that when she heard the shot, she went down the stairs and only saw the guy running, hooded and turning the corner. That's all she managed to see. And they went out to the front, but didn't see anyone else.
Have you ever owned a firearm? Have you ever been apprehended with a weapon?
Never had one. I worked as a security guard, but unarmed. I have never owned a firearm.
Didn't he have a gun at home?
No, I've never owned a gun, sir.
He never carried a weapon?
Never.
Okay. And the region, what's it like there? That region over there in Sabara, right?
Sabara.
And the victim's residence is situated right over there. What was the name again? It was on Old Barigi Road. There is a specific name listed there, Donacida. Is that correct?
You mean where we used to live? No.
Where the events took place? Yes.
Old Road, something like that. Donacida, it's a region like that.
Is that area a peaceful region or not?
No, that's not it, sir. No, it isn't. Anyone who knows that area knows it's not peaceful there.
All right. And how far did you live from your mother-in-law's house where the victims, Tatiana and Lucas, lived?
Like, from where my mother-in-law lived, I was living near the SIC terminal because I worked at SIC. I worked at the butcher shop, so I rented a house behind the butcher shop basically for me walking by there at the terminal of
SIX.
Right.
And what is the distance more or less by car?
To get there, it's about 20 minutes around that. I think about 20 minutes.
And on Monday, you're saying that you didn't leave the house?
No, that day I was off and stayed at home.
All right. Anything else, sir? Based on what I just asked you, is there anything else at all that you would like to say or add to this?
About the facts, it's just that on that day I was at home and my wife was with me. That's why she trusts me. She believes it wasn't me, so she's still with me to this day. And whenever she can, she visits me in prison. When she's able to send a care package, she finds a way and sends it. And when she can't...
No, that's fine.
Understand?
But regarding what you were asked, you have nothing else to add. Tiago, thank you. I give the floor back to you. Dr. Alex, for the defense?
No questions. Excellent.
Okay. Jurors from the Sentencing Council, any questions? Nothing? All right, then you can wrap it up there, please. Dr. Casagrande, on your part, I'll still question the jurors, but on your part, can we proceed?
Those were the prosecutor's questions. The defense attorney chose not to ask any questions. Few people know this, but he does have that right. It's rarely a good strategy, but it really depends on the atmosphere of the hearing. And many times, not asking anything and leaving situations unresolved is much better for defending the accused. Now it's time for the Sentencing Council to meet and make a decision. Do you think this defendant will be acquitted or not? What's your opinion? Leave your comment below while we watch the judge read the verdict. But before that, I ask you to check out the list of books I left in the description of this video. It was a selection put together by me. If you like law and philosophy, you won't like this selection. Now let's watch what the jury decided.
Jurors, then! I am resuming the trial session now for the last time. I invite everyone to stand so that the sentence can be read aloud. Yes, Christian Lucas da Silva Santos. We are holding a trial here regarding the accusation against you. The witnesses and victims were excused from questioning by the parties. Next, the man was questioned and gave his version of what happened. Next, the prosecutor presented his interpretation to the jurors, and in the same way, your defense attorney also spoke on your behalf. At the end of all this, the jurors reached a conclusion, and that conclusion is contained in the sentence, which I will now read aloud. The reading is summarized. It is a bit lengthy, but afterwards Mr. Christian Lucas da Silva Santos will have full access to it, should he so wish. Thus, I will proceed directly to item 2 grounds. In answering the questions, the jury reached no conclusion. Item A, to acknowledge the existence of the act. Item B, they did not attribute authorship to the defendant. This same conclusion was applied to both cases, that is, regarding the victims Lucas Gabriel de Santos Casimiro and also the victim Tatiane de Oliveira Aljo, which rendered the voting moot. As for the remaining questions in each series. And item 3, affirmative. In accordance with the law, and in consideration of the decision of the jury, the accusation is found to be unfounded. As a result, the defendant, Christian Lucas da Silva Santos, is acquitted of the charge, or rather of the charges for which he was indicted here. I waive the reading of the remaining items. Curitiba, Toledo Jury Courtroom, November 23rd, 2023. Also, just to note, Christian, that there is currently an active arrest order linked to this case. Due to the acquittal, it is hereby revoked today without prejudice to the enforcement of any other warrant that may exist in connection with another proceeding or case. Dr. Casagrande, on behalf of the Public Prosecutor's Office, any comments?
The jury found that there was not enough evidence to link the defendant to the crime. According to the sentencing counsel, it was not proven that he was the person who committed this crime. In situations like this, when there is doubt, it is better to acquit a defendant. It is far better to have 1,000 guilty people free than to have one innocent person imprisoned. Therefore, the defendant was acquitted because it was not clear that he was the one who committed the crime. But what did you think of this decision? Do you agree with it or not? Leave your comment below. Thank you for watching and see you next time.